How to read a body composition report after having had a DEXA scan. First disclaimer, this is not your specific report. It's just an example. Second disclaimer is that it is not a diagnostic tool. It is not telling you that you have disease, nor is it telling you that you are in big trouble. This has a ton of information on it, so I'll try to go through it as thoroughly as possible, giving you the biggest, most important things. With that said, by far and away, the most important number on this entire report is the number 70%. That is how much lean mass we would like for you to have. Lean mass is your organs, muscles, and fluids. You will find that number right there. Let's go next to the next one. We're going to skip over all this stuff. We'll come back to it. And I want you to look at this visceral adipose tissue category. We want you to have less than 10% of your fat to be around your organs. The best way that you can find that is to take this number, okay, 3.8 pounds, your fat mass around your organs, and divide that by your total fat mass in your entire body, which you will find up here in this little summary box. So if we get a calculator and we take 3.8 pounds of fat around the organs divided by 40.8 total fat pounds, we get 0.09, and we multiply that by 100 to get a percentage, and voila, under 10% for this specific scan. Anything over 10% does put us at risk for, again, metabolic disease. That's type 2 diabetes, obesity, hypertension, hyperlipidemia, high cholesterol, which is hyperlipidemia, and some cancers. So we want to stay away from that. So that is a metric that we are looking for. Let's scroll down all the way to the very bottom here, which will be our third and final really important category, relative skeletal muscle index. There's a direct correlation to how strong you are in your arms and grip strength to that of dementia, metabolic disease, frailty, and falls. So when we look at our relative skeletal muscle index, it is telling us how much muscle mass we have in our arms and our legs. So with this number up here, 8.70, we can go down to the recommended scale, and we realize for a man, 8.70 is in the low muscle mass range. For women, sarcopenia is less than 5.45, and for men, it's less than 7.26. If you're in that range, we will want to talk specifically because, again, sarcopenia is something we want to stay away from. Now, what we are pushing for you to accomplish here at Freedom not only is the standards that we are setting for you with the 12 Freedom Movements, but as you continue to move towards those standards, you will see an increase in your relative skeletal muscle index. You'll see this number increase, and you will see the percentage change on your overall lean muscle mass here. So, how do we improve in our lean muscle mass and improve in our relative skeletal muscle index? Well, not only do you need to be lifting weights, which you are doing, that's why you're here at Freedom, but you need to make sure that you are eating enough to sustain the overall activity that you are doing on a day-to-day basis. In our culture, we have a negative mindset or a deficit mindset. So when we see reports like this, I'm going to scroll back to the top. We look at the picture and we're like, oh, there's a lot of fat. That green is everywhere, right? Then we'll come down to this down here and we'll be like, oh, above the mark. That black line is the 50-yard line, right? Like, wow, I'm way up there. And we'll come down to the body composition, which we all want to see. And we're like, oh my goodness, I am obese. 25.8, that is obese. And again, we get concerned and we get worried. So the first thing we think of is, I need to eat less and do more. Because if I eat less and do more, then I will burn the fat. Well, the problem is if you keep lifting weights and you eat less, you're going to burn the lean muscle mass as well. And like I said, after the age of 35, we lose 2 to 5% of our lean mass every single year if we're not actively pushing against that. Actively pushing against that not only with lifting weights, but also food that we are taking in. Again, we have such a deficit mindset in our culture to where we want to lose fat, so we eat less and do more. That is going to pose a problem if it eats into our lean mass. So how do we know that we're not eating into our lean mass? Look at the resting metabolic rate. For this specific report, it's 1,522 calories per day is being burned by just existing. To just exist, body temperature, heartbeat, and respiratory rate. That's how many calories this person burns in a given day by just existing. So to build up the lean mass, you have got to put your gains brain on. I made that up just now. We want you to think about improving lean mass by gaining muscle mass. Here's how you do that. Each of you, depending on what you do outside of freedom, if you're coming twice a week, you're probably in the light category. If you're coming 3 times a week and do some type of activity outside of freedom, whether that be walking or running or working heavily around the house, you're going to be in one of these two categories, light or moderate. I want to encourage you to take your resting metabolic rate, multiply it by 1.375, and then multiply that by 1.2. And that will tell you how many calories you're supposed to eat within a given day to help gain lean mass. So if I come over to this calculator, we are going to take 1,522. We're going to multiply that by, what did we say? 1.375. 1.375 times 1.2. 1.2 equals 2,500 calories per day. Within that 2,500 calories per day, you want about 1 gram of protein for ideal body weight. So this individual, who happens to be me, weighs 165 pounds. I happen to like being 165 pounds. I'm okay with that. So I'm going to come down here and say, all right, if I want to eat 1 gram of protein for ideal body weight, I need to eat about 165 grams of protein a day. How much is that with regards to calorie? Well, 1 gram of protein equals 4 calories, about. So if I come over to the calculator here and I say, all right, for 4 calories for every 1 gram, 4 calories for every 1 grams times 165 seems like a lot. So I'll drop it down to 150 because that's probably a little bit more doable for my budget and my overall time. I need to eat about 600 calories of protein a day. That's how you can do the calculations to help keep up with the overall strength training and the activity that I'm doing outside of freedom, running around with my kiddos, coaching soccer, jogging, sprinting up hills, and playing recreational soccer. I would probably be more in this moderate category, so I probably would need to do a little bit of a different math problem. But again, I want to reinforce to you to have a gain mindset rather than a deficit mindset. If you have a gain mindset, you will build lean mass. If you have lean mass in your body, you will burn fat at a higher rate because muscle burns fat. The more muscle you have, the more fat you can burn. That is why I jumped over all the fat stuff for the most part because I really wanted to emphasize build muscle, build muscle, build muscle, rather than pull this report up and say, woohoo, yucky, lose fat. No, don't worry about that. You are what you are right now, and we need to see it change. And that's why we're going after body compositions every year. This is just an overview of a body composition report. Please listen to it, follow through with it, and continue lifting weights. Get strong. You got it.